How's it going, everyone? It is Drago. We're back with another chapter of Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest, chapter 142, Their Goals. And the cover page for this chapter has Mavis and Zareth along with the rest of their family on the cover. This is a very nice cover to almost imagine what their family would have been like if they hadn't been cursed, had everything go to the absolute worst that it could possibly be. And I'm sure there's going to be a ton of people that absolutely love Mavis and Zareth that are going crazy over this cover. I just think it's kind of cool to see actual parents in the series, because you never get, actual legit parent covers, and since they're a confirmed couple and had kids, I guess, very cool to see it kind of almost in a alternate universe, I guess, because Mavis didn't entirely know about the kids in the real universe, but either way, it's kind of a random out of place cover because Mavis or Zareth is not in the story right now, but I think it's very sweet and I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy it. We pick up our chapter at a brand new guild, that being Lead Eagle. And Sabretooth is there, trying to find the Philosopher's Stone, which once again, they don't have luck and they leave. And they're super bummed that no one is willing to tell them anything about this treasure, and that it must be some great treasure if no one even knows about it, which is when Minerva comes up with the idea that, hey, maybe they don't actually want to share it with us because we are wizards. And they thought about it from their perspective because they're like, yeah, well, if we had an alchemist walk into our guild, we wouldn't be telling him what the top magic in the world is. And Minerva just straight up picked violence because she's like, okay, well, if they're not going to tell me, I'm just going to go in there. I'm going to make them tell me. Pretty much the only one with common sense was Yukino because she's like, what? Why would you do that? And Sting was just going to go along with it. You get someone that's above the guild hall saying, you guys are pretty dangerous, aren't you? And it turns out that that is the guild master of Lead Eagle. I'm going to take a guess as to how you pronounce his name, that being Zalem. And he has a very weird quirk to where he says Ron after every sentence. I'm not entirely sure as to why. And he says that he can't, alchemize a Philosopher's Stone, but he does have one bit of advice for them as a possible person that could. And he tells them to seek out the genius alchemist, Aruha. And we cut back over to Athena, and she's kind of getting up from her injuries, asking Elvenser if he can use teleportation magic at this current moment. And he's like, well, I've used a lot, but I could probably do it one more time. And she wants to get teleported to Gold Owl to, help them fight, and with the purpose of destroying the fake Duke. And just kind of as they're talking about this, you get Rogue and Frosh wanting to join in as well. And they each have their own goals for going there, with, Athena obviously to defeat Duke and seal Vernus away, and Rogue to get his magic. And I like that Frosh's goal is literally just to go along. We go back over to the Gold Owl Guild, and you pick up with the aftermath of the Lucy and Gray fight. And Lucy is still very embarrassed about the outfit that, Brandish had her be in. And Gray was going to be nice and give Lucy some clothes to cover herself up. A little bit of a wrong choice for what clothes item to give her, with him just straight up pulling off his underwear. You definitely know this is going to cause quite the conversation because Lucy's freaking out, what was Brandish doing with my body while we were switched? And Gray comes up with the most obvious solution to Lucy's problem, why don't you just switch into one of your star dresses right now? And she's like, oh, yeah, I can do that. So Lucy switches into the Virgo star dress. And they're going to go try and find the exit, which Gray's a little bit of a downer when it comes to trying to find this exit. Because he's like, well, what if we can't even get out of here until, we beat the alchemist that made this place? You get a very quick cut to other people's battles. You just get one shot of Urza's battle and one shot of Jalal's battle. And you cut over to Natsu fighting the Athena number 2 and Duke. Which I kind of figured that Natsu would probably be able to overpower that version of Athena, because I don't see Rogue or Wendy's magic really being able to overpower Natsu. Even Duke himself realizes this because he's like, okay, you know what? My Athena is not going to defeat you. You're stronger than I expected. and he starts playing a little dirty. He forms a sword and he puts it up to Wendy's neck. Very similar situation to Lucy fighting Flair, to where he kind of blackmails her into losing. And I'd say this one's a little bit more serious than, the Flair, because he literally has a sword up to, Wendy's neck. And his one request to Natsu is that he does not want him to move. If he moves, he will kill Wendy. And he just starts having Athena beat up Natsu, and he still just tells him, do not move. And Natsu's just getting beat up while Wendy's getting held hostage. And then he wants Athena to start absorbing Natsu's power. And just as she's about to start absorbing his power, the first version of Athena shows up and blocks this Athena's attack. And that is the end of our chapter. So my thoughts. Not too much progress was made this chapter. I mean, you have Athena, presumably Rogue and Frosh joining these battles now. I mean, obviously now you have Athena helping Natsu, but, I mean, Wendy's still getting held hostage right now. She still has a sword up to her neck, and you get zero progress with Urza and Jalal's battles. They're still just staring each other down, like they haven't even started really fighting yet. I'd say this chapter was pretty darn short, and not too much eventful stuff happened. I mean, you had kind of a massive roller coaster of highs like the past few weeks, and we were going to come down a little bit at some point. So overall, a very short, small progression of the story this week. Really not too much to break down. With October right around the corner, I'm going to be doing Spooktober once again, and I put out a post on the channel asking for suggestions of things you would potentially like me to cover for this spooky season. And it could be literally anything from, animes like fairy tale or movies. As long as it's within the spooky season, I'm probably willing to cover it. Just like the last 2 years, I'm going to be covering a horror franchise this year. I already have some ideas as to which one I'm going to be covering. If you got anything super fun or creative, feel free to share it. And then also share your thoughts of the chapter in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and this is Drago, signing out.